Summit has 25 locations scattered across the U.S. and Latin America and the Middle East. And where we have servers, they are virtualized today. Most of that takes place here in our corporate data center here in Albuquerque. But even out at the branch locations where we may have a single physical server, even within that single physical server, we have virtualized the operating system. Server virtualization has a couple of real clear advantages for any company, certainly for electrical distributors. First, it allows you to be more efficient and more effective in how you allocate your resources for hardware. In a traditional server model, you would have to buy physical server boxes for each application or some group of applications that you need to run. So if I had 5 applications, I may have to go buy 5 servers. In a virtualized environment, I'm able to buy essentially a pool of resources, compute cycles from a processing standpoint and memory, and then allocate those dynamically in a virtual world to create these virtual servers on what will probably be one piece of hardware. Another benefit that comes from that is that it gives me the flexibility. If I have a server that I've defined in a virtual world and it needs more resources assigned to it in order to execute effectively, I can dynamically assign additional processing or additional RAM to that server. In a physical world, I will probably have to go buy another box at that point. We started the process of virtualization several years ago and took a couple of years to go through it. We evaluated some of the choices that were out there. Ultimately, we settled on VMware as our virtualization partner. Some of the key factors there were, the scalability of the system, ease of maintenance from an IT maintenance standpoint, to be able to update, patch, keep the system secure, to deploy new servers. Virtualization makes that so much easier. We can literally spin up and deploy a new server environment in minutes, where before, even if you had the software available, you had to call and order the hardware and wait for that to come in and deploy it that way. So we've gone from days to minutes to hours. There were some cons that we had to consider. I mean, it's a significant investment because it's a new hardware platform. You're not able to take the existing physical servers by and large and use them as your new virtual platform. So you have to really be able to justify the expense and the cutover effort involved to move to a VM environment. Plus, it's not exactly the same as managing physical servers. There are some little quirks and gotchas that you have to be aware of, and Lord knows we found a couple of those the hard way. Just because it's a different environment, because there's a lot more shared resources, you need to be a lot more conscious of the fact that you create some choke points that a physical environment doesn't have. In a physical server, the application and the operating system that are on that box are the only users or the only consumers of the resources on that box. So as far as memory, disk operations, so the input and output operations to the disk, that's all contained within that physical environment. When you go virtual, suddenly you have a number of different applications and operating systems competing for the same resources. And so it's easy to find yourself in a situation where what used to run in a physical environment doesn't run in a virtual environment because they're trying to kind of run through the same pipe. For instance, maybe they can't all get to the hard drive at the same time, or they can't all consume the same memory. If you're not already at least experimenting with virtualization, really time to start, because the economic benefits are clearly there. The ability to manage your systems more effectively with smaller staff, with more effectiveness in terms of providing service to the business, and just pure outright cost. It's cheaper now to run a virtualized environment than it is to run an equivalent physical environment.